Yeah, so the challenge is definitely the schedule. It's the travel to give yourself and people listening a bit of an insight. We finished a 4-day game last Wednesday down at Brighton. Travel back after the game, got back 11 p.m. after the game on Wednesday evening. We had Thursday off. Friday night we were playing a T20 at Leicester. Got back at midnight. Saturday morning, coach up to Durham. Played them yesterday, lost, traveled back, got back late last night, midnight, and so here I am today. The schedule is pretty brutal. I'll be honest. I mean, for coaches as well as players. I mean, the players have got to go out there and obviously perform, make all those decisions that go into like the rhythm of any sort of match. So physically, mentally, um, is becoming more and more of a challenge. And when I think back at the start of my coaching career, we had it was 7-month contracts. So and then it quickly turned into 12-month contracts. But we had a long period of time over the winter for those players that are based in the UK to break their performances down and break them down, not in a bad way, and then build them back up so they were better for the following year. But the schedule at the moment is pretty brutal, and it feels like, well, there's a couple of challenges. One is it when you step back, it can become clear on occasions you are surviving as opposed to thriving, and that's for coaches as well as players. But our responsibility as coaches is to high challenge, high support environment, but also understanding that they are going through exactly the same as we are as coaches, and maybe even more some because they are out in the middle as well. So it's a pretty interesting space at the moment, which is why I think that coaches really do need to take those opportunities. Yes, to chill. Yes, to have a balance between the game and outside interests, but also to constantly find ways to keep evolving and growing themselves as well.
You touched on there about a high support, high challenge environment. I'm intrigued as a bowling coach, how do you go about ensuring that that takes place on your watch?
I'm fairly certain if you ask the players, that wouldn't always be the case. But high challenge, high support, the kind of questions at training more than anything else, and match reviews. There's lots of cliches that get talked about at every level. And I think high challenge would be digging a bit deeper. Or how do you know that that was good? What are you working on here? Or how did you choose to work on that? Why don't you look at something else? What the success look like here in these next 6 balls? How do you know that success? So it's more around, for me anyway, in a way, questions. It's not necessarily about giving answers, although I would always go into a training session with some sort of thought on what that individual might need to work on, whether it's seam position, whether it's kind of rhythm in their run up or whatever it might be. But high challenge would be just more questioning than anything else. We're not winning every game. So therefore, how do you know that's going to take you towards getting more wickets, bowling more dot balls, doing better for at your end, so your bowling partner at the other end might take the wickets at the other end? How do you know? So it's just digging a little bit deeper, really, more than anything else, and listening to the language that they kind of respond back with, really. And then the support area would be your empathy, your having some sort of idea of the direction that they would need to go down, because some players don't have a clue. They just rock up and do what's asked them to do, sort of thing. So helping them understand that actually it's their career. They do need to have an idea of what they want from the session, even if it's the wrong thing in my mind. And there's other areas that they could look at to get the most from that training session. So high challenge and high support is the area that we have discussed needs tweaking. More challenge. We have in the past been very supportive as a coaching group. The players came back at the end of a review at the end of last season saying that they wanted more challenge. So we needed to become clear on what that looked like in the winter, and also like during pre-season and in season, because they're all slightly different.
Do you want to expand a little bit more on that, where you talk about how it is different in pre-season to the outer season and then
Yeah,
the season?
yeah, yeah. So in the off season, we would choose to have very tough sessions. So that's the high challenge. We would make the decision, say, right, the session is going to be geared up to this. Batters, you're going to be batting for 18 balls, and we want you to have a strike rate, albeit in the nets. It's going to be hypothetical to a certain degree with fielding placings and all this kind of stuff. So we'd set it up and say, right, we want you to have a strike rate of 140. At the end of your 18 balls, that is your challenge. But before you do that, you're going to go with the S&C coach with your pads on. You're going to be running sprints. You're going to get you fatigued. And they wouldn't know what they're going into during the sessions. So players being players, they almost want every bit of detail before they go into the session. So the high challenge thing will be, no, this is our session today. This is what you're doing. You can do that in the winter. You can do that in pre-season. We went on pre-season to Abu Dhabi. And so then you had the heat to contend with and the different conditions.